Hello again everyone and welcome to another Deer Stalking Gear review. Today we're bringing you an exciting scope review. We've got the Leupold VX3 HD scope, obviously from Leupold. It is a 4.5, let's check there, to 14 power by 50 deer stalking scope. And we've been trying it out for the past sort of month to 6 weeks. I have to say, first impressions, we are both pleasantly surprised and quite impressed with it.
So we don't actually want to send it back.
No, we
So
both want it actually.
Yeah.
Which is quite rare for a piece of kit where we both actually genuinely are like,
Yeah,
I actually would like. We had it with the GPO binoculars.
that's true. But even still, I think you had your slight reservations, didn't you?
I had some reservations about that.
So I think there's normally always a bit of kit that we're sort of, one of us would be like, really like this, or the other would be like, like it's okay. Whereas this, actually both really like.
Yeah, and it feels like Leupold have really hit, because obviously Leupold are sort of an American company. They're used to catering to an American audience. They already do a lot of sort of tactical scopes. They do a lot of, whatever, like sort of 4 to 12 by 40 or 42 scopes. But I believe this is their first foray into a deer stalking higher objective lens scope.
So Andy Norris from Viking Arms, who the importer for this, basically sort of said to us, he said, look, Leupold haven't been the best at producing good low light scopes in the past, but they realised to break into the European market they're going to have to do it, and this is their first sort of foray into it. And
they've called it the Fire Dot Twighlight Hunter. Which is quite an evocative name in the first place. But Fire Dot obviously refers to the illuminated reticle, which it has on the side here. So on your sort of left, you've got a sort of thing that looks sort of like a kind of dial, but you just twist it to take the battery out. But the way you use it is actually it's got a little button on it, and you click that, and it brings the brightness up, and you keep clicking it, it brings the brightness down. It's also got in it, which we really liked, the
flash.
Oh yeah, so it flashes when it's brightest.
Yeah,
which is helpful.
Which I think is quite clever, because instead of just like clicking and it gets to as bright as it's going to go, and then you click and you're like, oh, it's gone dimmer. You get to the very brightest setting, you press it and it'll flash to be like, are you sure about this? And you're like, yeah. Press it again, and then it will start to drop back down, which is really smart actually.
It's got lots of little clever things like that, and the gyrometer in it, is that right? So if you leave it on, for instance, and then you forget about it and you put it in the cabinet, which I do all the time, it turns itself off.
Yeah,
which is like
really clever,
nice little feature. It's got a BDC on it, but it's kind of like a stalking one. So firstly, it's got a lock for 0, so you have to press this little sort of silver button to move it, which is good. Doesn't get.
So you're never going to accidentally adjust it, are you?
Because my real problem with them is, you put it in a with turrets on a stalking rifle, is you put it in a gun case, and it's so easy with some of the turrets to move to move it without even really knowing it.
It's also really low profile, which I really like. So again, most ballistic turrets, I wouldn't say that stands any higher or any more proud off the scope than just a normal turret would. Whereas most ballistic turrets, I don't know, they're really like obnoxiously large and like big fat things, whereas that is just really nice, small, neat and compact.
Exactly, and they haven't gone for like a tactical sort of look on it. It's very kind of functional. It is what it is. You've got 0 to 12, I think it is, in terms of how many clicks you've got. More than you could ever possibly want.
Yeah.
And then obviously you put it to 0 and then you move it around so it's always on 0, and then you've got. Yeah. I think you can get different cups for it.
So this scope has got an unbelievable amount of acronyms, and the CDS acronym that goes with it is the custom dial system. So if you figure out that your 200 meters 0 is, I don't know, let's say 2.6 on this scope, you tell Leupold and they'll make you a turret that then sort of aligns all of your numbers or whatever values you want on that custom dial system, which is really smart. The only one thing we had a little bit of trouble with was when you zero it, you obviously take off this cap, and underneath the dial underneath like shreds your fingers when you're adjusting it. But a cloth or a screwdriver or something, and you'd probably be fine. But
I think that was just
it's
down to us being a bit
fairly minor error, a criticism, but yeah.
But they've thought through a lot of things on this. The throw lever on the magnification dial, it's very handy.
And
Like,
removable if you don't get on with it as well. So like,
Yeah.
again, I think they've catered to pretty much every market, haven't they?
yeah, exactly. I mean, and like, another thing, the throw on the mag, I don't know what you really call it, sort of turner, is very, very short. Like, this is all you have to do between 4 and 14. Like, that is really, really nice. You're instantly zip, all the way in. So, it's just like all sort of time saving. They've covered the windage turret, so, that's kind of aimed at stalkers. You set the windage, that's it. And it feels kind of fairly robust, doesn't it, really?
Yeah, and to look at, I don't know whether it. Well, I think it's as well as just looking small and compact. It is actually small and compact.
Yeah.
Whereas, which is again is exactly what you want from a sort of hunting scope. You don't want something that's big and cumbersome, and you've got on top of the rifle. I know that sounds silly, but you want something that just kind of like blends in, and you almost don't notice it's there. And even though this is a 50mm objective lens, I don't know, somehow it just doesn't feel like it. I mean, I've got a Schmidt & Bender 3-12 by 50 scope, and this is tiny in comparison, and fit and looks it as well. They've done a really, really good job.
The design is quite deceptive, and it's just nice and understated.
Yeah, and I think you get quite a lot for your money. So these you can get online on Uttings at the moment for £999. And I think for all the stuff that goes into this, so illuminated reticle, ballistic turret, 50mm objective lens, the quality of the glass, I mean, again, my Schmidt & Bender 3-12 by 50 was 1,200 odd, so the extra 200 quid. And I mean, yes, mine's got an illuminated reticle as well, so I should say, but you get all the same features from this for 200 quid cheaper, and it's a smaller, lighter scope. I'm pretty impressed with it.
Yeah, and I mean, I think we were both kind of quite sceptical in the outset about the glass quality, and it's all about low light transmission. Leupold historically weren't famed for it because American market, but we were both really impressed with this. Took it out at last light quite a bit, out stalking, and the clarity and the quality of the glass. They've clearly spent a lot of time and money on it because it is really, really good. And we're both used to quite good scopes. Both used Schmidt & Benders. We had sort of like Swarovski stuff, like side by side. So like, obviously it's not that level, but you're not paying anything like that sort of money for it. But it is really good for the money, and it just it doesn't feel you haven't got the same. I think the only downside is you don't have the same quality of finish as you do with the Schmidt & Bender. I think that would be my only real criticism of it. It's kind of like a sort of anodized black, aluminium-y. It feels kind of factory made, and it's not quite as solid feeling as the Schmidt.
Yeah,
that would probably be my only criticism of it in general. But it kind of delivers everything you really want in a scope.
See, I could probably let that stuff go on the basis of the price you paid for it, and I think it makes it really light and compact. My criticism would probably be that what's underneath the ballistic turret, but pretty minor criticisms from both of us, I think, there.
Yeah. No, quite right. I mean, it's lifetime warranty, whereas the Schmidt & Bender's 5 years, something like that, 10 years.
Yeah, so I think it's 10 years or something.
Not a great. You buy a scope like this, really, if you're spending £1,000, that could be, you could use this for the rest of your stalking career, stalking life. From what I've heard, Leupold are very good with their warranty. We've used it fairly hard, and nothing's really broken on it, but it's nice to have that, just sort of fall back on if you ever need it.
Yeah.
So yeah, in terms of value for money, it's bloody good.
Yeah. So there you go, guys. Another kit review done for you, this time on the Leupold scope. And I think probably the first thing we've reviewed that we've both fallen in love with, and both decided that we're going to try not to send back. So there you go. If that's not enough of a recommendation for you, I don't know what is. Please like, comment, subscribe, and hopefully we'll see you on the next one.